see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the pilgrims were good and Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody.
Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, yeah. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Come on.
Let's get it, y'all.
The essence of growth is growth, but the essence of growth is change. The beginning of the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Your life will never change until you get disgusted with where you are. Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must learn from the past, plan for the future, and live for today. For it is your daily routine that determines your success or failure in life. It's the choices that you have made up to this point that will determine the rest of your life. So break the cycle that doing enough is simply good enough. You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have the whole loaf. So push yourself, push beyond your limitations. Come on. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Come on. Don't stop. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. So you got to break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process for the quick progress. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no.
Let me get my Twitterers in here.
One step at a time. You got to break the routine of allowing others to get into your head to control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're going to always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down. Let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you got to keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on. A little deeper. Come on. Yeah. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Come on. Don't stop. Come on. Yeah. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Come on. Come on. Come on. You got to understand that greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you the future. You just a step away. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. Don't ever give up. Come on. You're just a step away. You're almost there. Come on. You got to push yourself beyond your limitations. You see, there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. You can go where you want to go. It's all in the power of your imagination. If you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. So stretch yourself. Take yourself to the next level. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Don't stop. Come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Blessings are coming your way. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop until you get your dream. Don't stop. Get your dream. Until you get your dream. Come on. Don't stop until you get your dream. Don't stop. Get your dream. Come on. Yeah. Don't stop. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go for the go. Come on. You gotta go for the go. You gotta go for the go. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Reach a little higher. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Don't stop. Don't stop. Yeah. What you make in a year, you gonna make it a month. And what you make.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from, and hit. But it just made me stronger, and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me, He came to bring. Oh, yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Black Love Experience. Bishop Talbert Swan with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. Good morning to each and every one of you here in the Pioneer Valley and beyond. Those of you who are listening in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, or wherever these 4,000 watts gets us. And to all of you who are listening over the World Wide Web, good morning to you, you, and you. Do me a favor, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from, what part of the country or what part of the world you're chiming in from. Good morning. I see my baby girl. Well, she's not a baby girl. She's my oldest. Um, Whitney in Chicago. Good morning to you and to my grandbabies that are out there. Tell them Papa loves them. Good morning, Houston. Houston always in the house. Um, oh, New Jersey. I'm just gonna say New Jersey. It looks like Pennsauken. I hope I pronounced that right, Brother Butler. Um, Good morning to New Jersey. Good morning to everybody. So jump in. Yes, Springfield's in the house. I see you. I see you in the house, Springfield. Let me know where you're coming in from. Jump on here in the gram on YouTube. Give me your city. Give me your town. Represent. Don't be like. I always forget the name of the movie. Y'all tell me the name of the movie. You ain't keeping it real. You ain't representing. Y'all got to represent. Birmingham, Alabama is in the building. South Kakalaki is in the building. The South be up here representing. Where y'all at in the North? Where I used to have Philly up in here deep. Where Philly? Where Drew from Philly? I ain't seen him in a minute. North Carolina. Good morning. I see you. I see you, North Kakalaki on the gram. Yes, sir. Toronto, Canada. I see you. I see you. Toronto's always up in the building. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to each and every one of you from wherever you're chiming in from. Good to see you all on this Friday morning. TGIF. Thank God it is Friday. Union, New Jersey in the building. Good morning, New Jersey. And good morning to everybody here in the field who are listening over WTCC. I'm sure some of you have been following the conversation that started a week ago, last Friday. ATL is in the building. Atlanta is in the house regarding these spurless lies and attacks on my character, my integrity, on my family.
some of you have been paying attention to it, and there have been some who are saying, Bishop, don't even bother, dealing with it. We know you, we know who you are. Your work has spoken for itself over the last 3 decades. You don't have to respond um, to this. And, well, sometimes you have to dispel the lies, and that's really been my purpose of even having the conversation, is just dispelling the lies. Because as a public figure, sometimes you get fed up. Sometimes you get fed up, you know, with. I mean, you develop a thick skin. Listen, I've been called everything but a child of God, and trust me, I've dealt with bigger boogers through the years than a loudmouth criminal and a podcaster before. Okay, I've dealt with bigger, badder adversaries than them. I've dealt with district attorneys and mayors and police chiefs and elected officials on up to the president. Some of y'all will remember during Trump's tenure as president, he personally reached out to attack me. So when you get attacked from the highest office in the nation, these little piddly Annie folk going live on Facebook seem to be, insignificant. But, since they're in my city, the city that I've lived in and worked in and lived my life, and my family have lived their lives to make a better place. I've dispelled the lies and the rumors that have been spread. There's this ongoing narrative about who's being allies of white supremacy. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that today, but let me get to the crux of Fat Turner's argument and his 3 or 4 friends, because what has happened is, he's been going on with his 3 or 4 friends, and basically getting them to come on to agree with him. I mean, which is easy enough. I got friends, who I can bring on my show anytime I feel like to rubber stamp what I say. I'm not impressed by that. Ain't nobody impressed by you getting your buddies to come on and say, yeah, you're right. That's easy. That's easy. And to co-sign the narrative. Here's the issue. You don't get to attack people and then play victim. You don't get to lie on folks, to slander people, to try to malign their character, call their integrity into question, suggest that they are compromised by white supremacy, that they are being bought, and all of those things. And then when they clap back, then you run and play the victim. So no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do, and that's what's been happening over the last week. I mean, they've done about 6 or 7 lives with a combined total of 1,000 views, to complain about what I've said in response. You don't get to start a fire and then start crying when you get burned. You wanted the smoke. Deal with it. You wanted the smoke. Deal with it. You don't get to start a fight, and then if you get whooped, start playing like you're the victim. That's a Karen-esque type of move. That's what we see these Karens out here doing. Start stuff with black people, and then when black people respond, Then they start with the white tears and all that kind of stuff. This is what's happening. It's a Karen-esque move. You start a fight, then when you get clapped back on, then you want to have your therapist and everybody else, come on your lives to talk about poor you, how you're being attacked and you shouldn't be called names. No. No. When you start stuff like that, then expect what you get in return. You don't get to run all over town calling people coons and sellouts and allies of white supremacy and compromised and all of this stuff, and then start crying, he called me Fat Turner. He called me Jokley Carmichael. What do you think about him using the names of our pioneers and him calling me a crackhead and Martin Luther King? No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to call my family terrorists. And I'm gonna play it for y'all because, see, the other thing is a bunch of lies. I never attacked that man's family. You don't get to call my family a bunch of terrorists and then start whining and crying because I called you Huey P. Fig Newton. That's a Karen move. That's a Karen move. If you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. But I understand that's probably your favorite room in the house. I understand. That's Fat Turner's favorite room in the house. And let me tell you this. Trying to use my station as the president of the NAACP and as a pastor and as a bishop to shame me from responding to the attacks on me and my family aren't going to work. That whole turn the other cheek theology, I don't buy into. Okay? When I say don't let the collar fool you, what I mean by that is don't ever expect for me to lay down and be a doormat. Don't ever expect that you're just going to run roughshod over me, say what you want to say about me, treat me any kind of way you want, attack my family, etc., and think that I'm going to be off in a corner being docile and passive and not saying anything. So that move don't work. Trying to shame me, oh, you're a pastor, so you should just let me slander you and not respond. No, that ain't gonna work. So jumping on talking about, oh, he's supposed to preach the gospel of Jesus. Even Jesus grabbed the whip and whipped the hypocrites out of the temple. Even Jesus used strong language and called people vipers and snakes and sons of the devil and hypocrites. Even Jesus used sharp and strong language to rebuke folk. So I don't know what Bible y'all reading where you think that I'm supposed to sit around and let you say what you want to say and do what you want to do and lie the way you want to lie, and I'm supposed to lay down and take it. You got the wrong preacher. Wrong preacher. I'm a Nat Turner kind of preacher. You ain't never accused Nat of not being a preacher. And Nat got the weapons and dealt with his enemies. So the notion that because you're a preacher and a pastor, it's beneath you to deal with your enemies, no, sorry. That ain't the Bible I read. So no, you don't get to go on the attack, say what you want to say, do what you want to do, and then start crying and playing like you're a victim when you get to clap back. You're not a victim. You started the fire, deal with the smoke. And then, you know, it's sad when people that I have a level of respect for will then co-sign. See, here's the problem. Bruh is surrounded by enablers, by folk who won't call out his bad behavior, but will co-sign it and enable him to continue. Who will agree that he's the one being attacked? Who will agree that somehow the people that he's attacked, who have responded to his attack, should come back and seek him out and apologize to him? Y'all must be crazy. Y'all must be crazy. Obviously doesn't have people around who will hold him accountable for the foolishness. When you want to talk about, let me go back. I'm gonna deal with this allies of white supremacy thing, but let's deal with the major issue that he keeps lying about. Talbert Swan made a donation to Dominic Cerno, and he's Talbert Swan II, and it says Talbert Swan II. Two things I'm gonna say about this. Number one, I never made a donation to Dominic Cerno. My sister made a donation on behalf of my father on a check written on a joint account between her and her uncle, who has the same name as me. They took the name Talbert Swan and misappropriated that donation to me when it should have went to my dad, Fred Swan, who openly is supporting the mayor. I don't have to lie, Craig. I don't have to lie. If I made a donation, then I made it. I don't have to lie about whether I made a donation or not. But here's the thing. If I had made that donation, I don't have to answer to Charles Stokes about it. Who the hell is Charles Stokes to tell me or any other black person in this city who they're allowed to support, who they're allowed to make a donation to? When Charles Stokes starts putting food on my table, when he starts putting money in my pocket, then he can scrutinize where I spend my money. But who the hell is he to tell grown people where they're allowed to spend their money and what campaign they're allowed to donate to? You're not going to shame me by repeating, he made this donation. We hold him to a higher standard. Negro, please. You don't get to control where I spend my money or what I do with it or who I donate to or who I support. And this notion that somehow, if people did support Dominic Cerno, that they can't hold him accountable is ludicrous. It's a ridiculous, flawed notion. And see, here's the problem. And I'll say this because I've had this conversation. He keeps saying, you won't publicly support a black man for mayor. You can't bully people into endorsing Justin Hurst. You cannot bully, you can't shame people. Matter of fact, what you're doing is you're repelling people away from the campaign. You're a liability to the campaign. Because people will not be bullied. So if you think this is a way of supporting a black candidate by attacking every black preacher in town Every black politician, every black person who supports somebody else in the name of that campaign, you're hurting that campaign, not helping it. And I wish my brother who's running for mayor would understand that. And I'm not saying anything over the radio that I haven't said directly to him. And disassociate himself from this foolery that continues to go around in our city. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. I didn't make a donation, but if I do donate to anybody's campaign, I don't have a problem owning up to whose campaign I donate. And I do plan on making several donations before this campaign season is over. But it ain't none of Fat Turner's business who I donate to. And I don't have to answer to him or his 8 followers. 413 736 2781. Now let's just keep it a buck. That's that on that. That's that on that. You know, the problem ain't what black people donated to Dominic Sarno. The problem is black people that won't come out and vote. Good morning, caller.
Good morning and God bless you. Thanks for all your listeners. Bishop, I appreciate you. You have closed the whole city of Springfield case. Now we can move forward and thrive. Thank you and have a blessed day.
413 736 2781 is the number if you want to chime in on the conversation. So that's that. So y'all go ahead and do 10 more lives for 500 views and 30 comments by the same 6 people for the next couple of weeks if you want to. You know, but you can't shame me, you can't bully me. My record of accomplishment and dedication and work in this city and that of my family is a matter of record. It's a matter of record. It's a matter of record. And to suggest that you can't hold people accountable who you work to suggest that because the NAACP has a flag raising ceremony that's been going on for 30 years that predates my tenure as president, because I've continued a tradition of raising the visage of Martin Luther King Jr. above City Hall on his birthday, that I'm compromised. Because you were downtown raising a flag with Dominic. I'm going to raise the flag as long as I'm president. We're going to raise the flag above City Hall on King's birthday, no matter who's the mayor. Okay? So to act like that compromises me and I can't hold him accountable because we have a flag raising, that's foolishness. There's bigger fish to fry, bigger issues to deal with in Springfield than whether or not we raise the flag with Dominic Sarno. Man, stop playing with me. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, how you doing?
I'm good.
So, but let me tell you something. This man you're talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about, so I'm not going to mention the name. But I need to let you know that anybody attacked a Swan, member of the Swan family, hasn't lived in Springfield. I've been here for 67 years. And Swan's family's always been somebody to look up and always been respected. So, you know, I understand you sitting up there fighting this man, but this man, he's nothing, because the Swan family has always represented Springfield in all forms of life. So what this man is doing, you just don't know what he's doing. You cannot put a Swan down, so I have no respect for him, because the Swan family didn't show all the fight they didn't did. Some things we may not agree with, but they've always stood for the better of Springfield. So, Bishop, you keep doing what you're doing and don't let this man don't even, you need to just say, you know what? I'm going to give this man to God because you know what? Ain't nothing I can do with him. I don't have to prove myself because all you have done for this city and this country, man, this guy will never be able to do. So I just want to give you that praise. And thank the Swan family for being the Swan family. And thank you for all you've done for this city. Thank you.
Appreciate you, my brother. Good morning, caller. Caller, you're on the air. All right, 413-736-2781. Good morning, caller.
Oh, yeah. Pastor, I finally got a person on here that actually is telling people about what it is. Who and what you do with your money is your business.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Turn your radio down.
Peace and blessings. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Linnell Gaskew. I just jumped in the race to try to help our city become great again. And it's just unfortunate that we're dealing with spiritual wickedness in high places. We're supposed to be a city of love. We're supposed to be a city of understanding. We're supposed to be able to be there for one another. And it's unfortunate that there's so much division for nothing. It's discouraged me. It has really discouraged me because I'm not a politic. I'm a concerned constituent who wants change. And you don't see anyone else fighting against each other. But you see us time and time again, us attacking each other. And it's not you, Bishop Swan. I respect you wholeheartedly. And I love what you do for our city. But it's just sad. It's just sad. It's sad that it's so much, it's unnecessary. There's nothing behind it. Let's get out here and really work. Let's get out here and really help. Let's stop sharing all the foolishness and let's stop shit. Let's stop.
What are you running for, sis?
City Council at large.
Tell them your name again.
Linnell Gaskew.
All right.
Everything that it's discouraging. You know, for someone who is new coming into it, it's just discouraging.
Yeah, I understand, sis. But you know, politics is a dirty business, and unfortunately, the strategy of divide and conquer has been with us for a long, long time, and there are always going to be black people who play into it. You know, my thing is this, and you know, I've been on radio over 20 years, and I'm usually attacking issues and the stances of public officials, not only here in Springfield, but across the nation. The only reason why I jumped into this is because the attack on me and my family. But at the end of the day, you're always going to have those who are going to play that card and spend more time attacking black people than they are the social ills and problems that affect black people.
I totally agree, and it's the only reason why I decided to jump in was because I know that myself personally, I needed help with my children. There was no resources. I needed help with friends and family for mental health. There was no resources. So now it's like, instead of attacking each other, let me deal with what's really going on. We need help. I
appreciate you, sis.
Thank you.
The best to you and your campaign. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
413-736-2781. 413-736-2781. Let me see who's here. HB in Twitter space. Good morning, HB. What's happening?
Good morning, Bishop. Good morning, family. Oh man, I'm so goddamn tired of white folk, man. They get on my nerves. They hypocrites, and that's why I continue to say, like, separation. We got to start a separation plan. Along with reparations, we got to develop our plan. along with reparations that entails land. So we are owed America. And in inflationary times, we owe the entire America. Like, we got to figure out what we're going to do, because they keep dividing us, and the world is getting more and more advanced. And we are far back educational wise. It's dangerous. It's getting dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much once all of us die off, ain't no telling what the world gonna be like for black people, and it's sad. So we got to start now. We really got to start today. I'm not saying. I mean, let's just say this: we are Black American citizens. Is it wrong? Would it be illegal for us to start a civil war for our rights?
Well, let me tell you this, bro.
Everything that we need.
There are white militias and stuff out there practicing every day, getting ready for a race war. My question is, would Black America even be ready? Because we don't have people out there getting ready for such a thing to happen. But they are getting ready for it, and they're trying to make it happen.
They weakened us up so much. They are forcing homosexuality, and now it's wrong to just sit up here and say this. They literally forcing it on our children. They forcing it on us, and they been breaking our men down for decades. Like for not decades, hell, they've been doing it since they came into our existence. That's what I'm saying. We got to do something. We got to do something, because it's only going to continue. We can sit up here and call out their hypocrisy all day long, but nobody is actually doing nothing about it. We can't even create a school and develop a school. How many black kids was enrolled in that school?
Yeah. Appreciate you, my brother. 413-736-2781. If you're in the Twitter space, you can put your request in. That was HB giving us his input. And you're more than welcome to do so as well. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes. Fisher, I think our problem is black folk have learned that we have a voice. And we learned that we are being heard. And we call ourselves educated, or we call ourselves aware. But when we speak, when we make noise, we are fighting, we are criticizing the same fight that we are fighting for, but because the person that is in the position or that maybe has the light in their hand, they're not out there on the front line with guns or signs or creating, something. They think that they're not doing nothing, but the people don't know that. People don't know that the world can fall just by being silent.
Well, yeah. There's definitely something to be said about being silent. I appreciate your call, good brother. 413-736-2781. So when you talk about being allies with white supremacy, listen, you can't spend your life being an ally of white supremacy and then accuse other people of being it because you think they made a donation to a campaign. Whatever black people are on your little hit list. You can't spend your life assisting white supremacists in their flooding black communities with drugs. You assisted them. You sold them poison to your own people. And here's the other thing. I know what's going will happen is all they can do is bring up my past. Listen, when you attack people, when you call people's character into question, when you try to malign someone's integrity, then your past activities become part of the conversation. And see, here's the hypocrisy in it. Here's the hypocrisy in it. You want to attack people and point out what you think are their character flaws and point out how they're helping white supremacy, but then you think your past is supposed to be off limits. That's not how it works. You don't get to attack other people's character and then say, now, wait a minute, what I did was back then. You can't talk about that. You know, if I smoked crack 5 months ago, you can't talk about that. But you talking about what other people did 5 months ago. You can't sit up here and say, last January, Bishop Swan responded to the Orlando Taylor killing like this. And you lied about that. And I put it out publicly to prove you lied. I dropped the receipts. But you can't go back to last January and try to attack me for something that happened last January, but then tell me I can't talk about you smoking crack in October. Come on, man. You can't live by that double standard. Can't live by that double, and the people defending them. No, you can't deal with that. This is addiction. You can't do. No. You don't get to go back to January of last year. You don't get to go back 11 years, 12 years. You don't get to go back 12 years to when I won the NAACP election fair and square by getting 80% of the voters of the branch to support me. You don't get to go back to 2011 and talk about the NAACP election and then tell me I can't talk about you smoking crack 5 months ago. Let's be consistent. Let's be consistent. Don't say I can't talk about the past when it comes to you and your activity, but then you can go far back as you want to and talk about that. That's not how it goes. It's like you make up these rules as you go along. I'm going to go, he stole the NAACP at 12. I'm going to talk about what I think happened 12 years ago, but he can't talk about me smoking crack 5 months ago. That's not fair. If you can't dish it, if you can't take it, don't dish it. If you can't stand the heat, get the hell out the kitchen. So for the record, let's deal with this since they wanted to talk about it. First of all, the NAACP was reactivated by Ray Jordan, Dora Robinson, Helen Colton Harris, Sophie Jeffrey, Ida Flynn, Ann Bailey Leavenworth, Ray Berry got together and said, let's revitalize the NAACP. They went to Juan Cofield, who was the president of the New England Area Conference. Conference president has to be involved in the starting of any new chapter in their catchment area or the reactivation of any chapter in the catchment area. So when they reactivated the Springfield branch, Van Johnson was the president. Bill Blatch was the vice president. Interim. They were interim officers. They were always told that they had to have an election to elect permanent officers. Now, I had no involvement in any of that. As a matter of fact, Ray Jordan came to me and asked me to serve on the executive committee. When I asked him who would be the president, and he told me who the officers were, I declined. The reason I declined, and I have great respect for Van Johnson and for Bill Blatch. Bill Blatch has been a friend of our families for decades. But the reason why I declined, I thought it was a conflict of interest to have a police officer, Van Johnson, and a state trooper, Bill Blatch, as the president and vice president, when I knew from experience, having served as the legal redress chairman of the NAACP when Darnell Williams was president, that 85 to 90% of the complaints that come into the NAACP are against the police. So I thought it was an inherent conflict to have the two major officers of the branch be police officers when the majority of the complaints that would come in from the public would be against the police. So I declined to be on the executive committee and went away and kept doing what I was doing, which was out here fighting injustice and providing services and a voice for the people, which I had always done without the title of NAACP president. Fast forward, whatever was happening in the branch, I wasn't aware of because I was not actively participating, although I was a life member. Okay? I'm a life member of the branch. Ray Jordan never recruited me to run for president. He never had a conversation with me about running for president. That's a lie. Sophie Jeffrey, Ida Flynn, Candace Lopes came to me and asked me to run for president of the branch. Now, the irony of that was these were some of the same people who had opposed me for president when I ran in 1996. They recruited Darnell Williams to run to make sure I didn't get the presidency because they thought I was too radical. They didn't like my relationship with Minister Yusuf Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. It recruited folks to vote against me. I lost the election by 21 votes in 1996. Fast forward 15 years. All right. And some of the same people are now recruiting me and asking me to run for president. And so I capitulated and agreed to run, put in my nomination papers. We registered people to be members of the branch because all you have to do is be a member of the branch to vote. There's no certain number of meetings you got to go to or any of that. You just have to be a member in good standing. We went to the scheduled election. We had nothing to do with the scheduled election. I never had a conversation with Juan Cofield. Matter of fact, I never had a conversation with Juan Cofield until after I was elected president. So this whole notion that I got with Ray Berry and Ray Jordan and Juan Cofield, that's a lie. I never talked to any of them. Now, what happened with the previous election and why it was invalidated, I don't even know why it was invalidated. I don't know the nature of the complaint that was made about that election or anything. What I do know is the rules of the branch, having now been the longest serving president in the history of Springfield. I do know that when there is a complaint made about the validity of an election, it falls on the New England Area Conference president to assess the merits of that complaint and to make a determination as to whether or not that election should be upheld or invalidated. Apparently decided that that election should be invalidated so the current officers, Van Johnson and Bill Blatch, would remain in place until another election was scheduled. All of that preceded me, and I had nothing to do with that. What I do know is when the election was scheduled that I was running for president for, at Muhammad's Mosque, number 13. What I do know is I came to the election. Juan Cofield facilitated the election. The secretary of the branch at the time, Ann Bailey Leavenworth, validated who was and was not a member and was eligible to vote. The candidates were allowed to get up and give a speech. Charles Stokes gave his speech. The members of the branch voted. 80% of them voted for me. And I won the presidency. And have won 6 other terms since then. Now that's what happened. All this stuff about stealing an election, all that nonsense, that's foolery. That's foolery. But you can go back and try to talk about that, but then tell me I can't talk about what you were doing 5 months ago, which was smoking crack. Okay. So when you want to talk about conspiring with white supremacy pumped drugs in black neighborhoods. You helped them. White supremacy created the environment for violence to thrive in black communities. You engaged in that violent behavior. You were cracking people upside the head and getting arrested for assault. You were an ally. Supremacy is caused the flooding in of guns into our communities and the proliferation of death among black people. You were involved in and responsible for the death of a black woman in our city. You were the ally of white supremacy. White supremacy is responsible for mass incarceration of innocent black people. You testified and sent an innocent black man to prison for 27 years of his life. Who is the ally of white supremacy? White supremacy is responsible for the entire divide and conquer paradigm that has kept black people from coming together and actualizing their maximum potential. Who is the one running around this city slandering every black elected official, every black preacher, every black agency head, every black person who doesn't do what you think they should do? That's you. Not somebody who made $100 campaign contribution. You are the ally with white supremacy. Stop the madness. You cooperated with it your whole life. When you were smoking crack 5 months ago, what did you do? You went somehow and obtained that illegal substance that white supremacy has pumped into our community. We don't own any boats, planes, or trains. We don't own any farms that grow cocoa leaves that create cocaine and manufacture. We don't do that. White supremacy allows that in our community, and here you are running out on the streets to get you some. But at the same time, you accusing other people of cooperating with white supremacy. No, you don't get to play the victim. You don't get to scandalize other people. You don't get to call their character into question. You don't get to malign their integrity. You don't get to lie on their family and call their family terrorists. You don't get to tell all kinds of lies and slander and then say, oh, my past is off limits. What I was doing 5 months ago, we shouldn't talk about that. You don't get to do that. You don't get to act like a Karen and then play the victim. Good morning, Rock Island, Illinois. You don't get to do that. So if you're going to come out on the attack of black people, black politicians, black agency heads, or any black person who's not publicly endorsing your candidate, then just be prepared for whatever response they have. And stop whining and complaining and jumping on live with your 4 friends. You know, 4 or 5 times a week doing lives complaining about he called me Fig Newton. he called me Jokley Carmichael. What do you think about him calling me Martin Luther King? I'm being attacked. No, bruh. No. You don't get to do the attacking and then complain about you're the one being attacked. You're the victim. No, you ain't no victim. You just getting the smoke that you deserve. I'm out of here. Check me out on Monday on the spoken word at 9:00. Don Felton's coming up next with mid-morning jazz and great black music. He's going to make it personal for y'all. So don't y'all touch that dial and don't go nowhere. Remember, April 12th, Lift Every Voice lecture series is popping off at 35 Alden Street. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, 11:00 a.m. on Sunday morning. On Wednesday, Mission Church, Pastor's Council Lenten service. Friday, Good Friday service at St. John's. And then, of course, on next Sunday is Resurrection Sunday. We'll see y'all on Monday. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember God loves you, and so do I. Peace and blessings.